First of all, I would like to say congratulations
Thank you.
with your Oscar, of course, but also with our Sport and Society Film Award of the Rotterdam Sport Film
Thanks.
Festival.
That's
And
wonderful.
how do you feel about getting all these prizes?
Well, it's just nice to know that people, I made the movie out of just, I love these girls. I just think they're amazing. And so I'm just glad that everybody's seeing them, for what they are. But it's great. I mean, it's wonderful. It's really wonderful.
I have the feeling it's a story about hope in a not so positive environment.
Mm-hmm.
How did you do that? How was it possible?
Well, it was very hard. I've been working in Afghanistan since 2005 and I did a movie called Camp Victory Afghanistan that was about the training of the army by the American National Guard and the Italians and everybody. And because I was a woman of a certain age, I would go and interview the Afghan officers in their home. And of course, being a woman, they would send me off to the women's side and I would meet these amazing girls who were just so bright and so funny and so mischievous and so and then the minute a man came in the room or the minute a camera came up, they became and this happened. I then made another film called One Bullet. And this had me in a house with a woman who has 53 grandkids, right? So that there's kids climbing through the windows and coming everywhere. And again, they're fabulous. They're wonderful. But the minute a man walks in the room and the camera comes up. So when Annie and Lifetime came to me with this commission, when Grain Films actually came to me.
Yeah, because I was really wondering, how did you get this story and how did you get the permission to film there?
Well, Grain got the permission because Orlando, our executive producer, had made a film many, many years ago called Skateistan, to Live and Skate in Kabul, which was about Oliver Persevich, the man who established Skateistan. But it was at the stage when he was just skateboarding around the streets and how these street kids were following him. So he was teaching them all how to skateboard in this, this fountain with no water in it. And, it was fun, but it was when things were really not so fixed up. So when A&E and Lifetime decided they wanted to do something about the girls' side of the school, Grain was the company, Orlando's company, that had any inroads to Skateistan. Skateistan is very, very protective. It does not want anybody in there. They don't want this to become a Western thing. They know everybody's yay, girls on skateboards. So it was through Grain, through Orlando, his relationship that Oliver, that they got permission to do it. But when they needed someone who was comfortable in Afghanistan and kind of understood the stuff, they came to me via an Afghan filmmaker who recommended me, an Iranian but living in Afghan filmmaker. So it was just one of those things where it was when they said this, I was I know exactly how to do it and I know exactly what to do. Which in these situations is very hard because Skateistan had a lot of rules about what we could or could not film. And then there are a lot of limitations for our safety and a lot of limitations for the girls' safety and the teachers' safety, right? So it was like making a movie, in a maze because there was so much we couldn't do. But I'm used to that, right? So I came up with a structure of these girls teaching you how to skateboard, because I knew that even if I never could go to anybody's home and never go outside, only stay in the Quonset hut, that I could still deliver the movie. Because it was a commission. I had, X amount of shooting days, X amount of whatever. And so I wasn't aiming for an award-winning film. I was just trying to create a situation in which you could just see these girls behaving the way they behave when there isn't a man in the room and they're not conscious of a camera, right? And I hired, it was an all-women's crew. I brought Zama, Wadat, a cinematographer who had been a student, but who'd left Kabul when she was 3. I hired a filmmaker from Kabul, a woman filmmaker from Kabul. And so we just kind of worked our way in there. Lisa Rinsler, the DP, and I would sort of hang back. Zama and the young girls who spoke Dari would sort of, be the face to the girls.
Yeah.
And Zama would ask the girls, we sort of worked it out, and I told her to ask the girls, what would your childhood have been like had you not left at the age of 3? Because kids, they want to feel like they know something you don't, So they just, they just completely opened up to her. So I wrote the questions and she did the interviews. I did the teachers because I'm a teacher. So we just, we had a great relationship. And so between those two things and all the limitations, I figured out how to just create something that was spirited and very feminine or female and very fun, but also very appropriate to the situation that they're in.
And you just mentioned you're a teacher, you're a professor.
Yeah.
How was it for you to see that like girls have there's such a big difference between girls and boys, and that they have like less opportunities? It must be hard to see that.
Well, I mean, it is what it is in Afghanistan, and frankly, poor boys don't get much more. I mean, there is a boys' Skateistan. The boys come in the afternoon, the girls come in the morning, and the skateboarding for them is to just keep them from running wild in the streets, which they can do, and the skateboarding keeps them in school. So, poor kids' education. I mean, yeah, girls have a lot more against them, but the boys don't have it so good. When you're poor, it's tough. Yeah. And that's what I love about Skateistan, is they solve a very particular problem in that they go out into poor neighborhoods and they find kids who didn't start school at an appropriate age. And what Skateistan does is it gives them from 1st through 3rd grade in 1 year skateboarding for the boys to keep them in the building, and for the girls to just have them learn, physical courage and learn, understand what it is to fail and then succeed.
There's one super beautiful quote, a girl who says, "I don't want to grow up because I want to skate forever." I found that so beautiful in the documentary, and it really feels like it all comes together.
Yeah, but I have a feeling, I don't know, because again, Skateistan's very protective, and I don't find out anything. I think she may have ended up becoming a teacher because the two young teachers have moved on. I mean, the whole point of Skateistan is, people move through there so they can move on. I think she might be a teacher there, in which case she's making money, in which case they're not going to marry her off. And the same thing that happened to the Hanifa and Shagofa. It's like they became, earners for the family, and nobody's going to get rid of that when they're poor, So I don't know, but it's true.
It's really beautiful. Yeah. And what did you learn from the Afghanistan culture?
God, it's so hard to say. I've been there for so long.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the importance of family. The importance of family and how hard it is to break away from your family. That for a girl in Afghanistan, or even when I was young, the bravery is walking out of that protective cocoon of girls, of women, and entering a man's world. Now it's not so bad, at least in the in the States or in the West. But when I was young, it was just not so easy, and for them, it's a lot harder. So it's just the importance of family being supportive of you going on. I don't know. I love that place. I wish I could take everybody there. It's such a beautiful country.
So beautiful that you say that. And like, are there moments you've been scared because you're in the middle of a war zone?
Well, Kabul isn't exactly a war zone. It's more like it's like during it's hard to describe. It's just shit, people blow things up, but it's not like combat, people with guns running through the streets, which it was in the Civil War, and certainly when the Russians were there at certain times. But I wasn't so much scared with this movie. I mean, the other ones I've made, I've been in some touchy situations.
Yeah.
It was more, I think, the thing is when you get used to working in a situation which can change quickly, you kind of have to realize that there's danger, which is a situation, and then there's fear, which is an emotion. And they don't really actually have that much to do with each other. It's like when you are in the most danger is most likely when you're the most relaxed and not thinking and not looking around. So I know there have been times I was in a lot of danger, but I didn't find out about it until later.
Well, you also see the same with the girls. If there's like a dangerous situation, they pick up and go back on their skateboard again. And it's life there.
It's weather. To them, it's weather. It's weather. And sometimes the weather is bad.
Yeah.
But it's weather. But they are, it's like anyone. You look at it from the outside and it looks horrifying. But if you live there, that bomb blew up 2 blocks away. I wasn't anywhere near it.
Yeah.
Whereas outside you go, oh my God, that was 2 blocks from your house. And it's just, and they, like she says, you leave the house because you have to leave the house.
Yeah. It's a change of perception, I guess. Yeah. And was it okay to film the girls? Like, did you get permission from the parents, or did you get some complaints afterwards?
No, that was all cleared. The producer, Elena Andriacheva, I think you may have spoken to her at some point. She was on the ground like a year before I got there. And we were very sure that nobody appeared in front of our camera. And if they did, it made sure we didn't cut them in, who did not have, you can't ever film kids without permission from their parents. You just can't.
No, but I can imagine maybe after broadcasting the documentary.
I've been doing this for a long time. It's like we had many tactics to keep people safe. Which of course I can't tell you what they are, but this is why it makes me so glad that people just enjoy it and see it as so free, because it was free in the moment, but getting it made so that it felt free was very, very difficult.
Yeah, I can imagine.
You did it.
And after the Oscar, did you raise a lot of money for Skateistan?
Yes, it did. I don't know how much or from where, because Skateistan, but I was told, and I'm not sure if they want it announced. I have no idea, but no, it did Skateistan a lot of good. There was a whole hashtag thing about send the profits to Afghanistan or something like that. Like we may, and I was like, the idea of this making money or my making money from it is laughable, but I understand it doesn't look like that. But it did raise an enormous amount of money for Skateistan and the skate school and those people. So it did a lot of good. That
and I read that you got the advice to not use Afghanistan in the title of the documentary. Is that correct?
Yeah. I'm not sure where that came from, but there was this idea. I wanted to say learning to skateboard in Afghanistan if you're a girl, but people were like, just you need to use the word Warzone so people know that, and also, I think we've been in Afghanistan a long time, and I think there's people who see the word and just go, "Oh," but yeah, I don't remember how. I remember there was talk, but I don't remember where it came from.
A commercial point of view, probably. Yeah. And how do you see the future for Skateistan and the girls there?
Well, these girls, we shot this some time ago, so they are now in Afghan public schools, and and their families are there to protect them. Skateistan will continue I mean, it will continue one way or another, and now that it's got some money, it can. I don't know what's going on now because, again, Skateistan is like, it's like Brigadoon. It's kind of like the clouds pull close, and that's it. If you want to know anything about them, you have to call them, because they have very straight strictures to keep everything safe. But yeah, they'll. And what's going to happen? I mean, I don't even know what's going to happen in my country.
No, I know. It's
So
really bad and sad situation at the moment. I guess.
Nerve-wracking. Yes.
Yeah. And how was the Oscar moment? And can you maybe show it to us on camera?
Oh, sure. Hold on. I mean, I want to pull my computer off the thing with it. It's really heavy. That's what they don't tell you. They hand it to you and you're like, oh my God. It's like 9 pounds. Well, it was great. It was amazing. I just didn't believe we were going to win. Everybody kept saying to me, you're going to win. And I was like, I'm from Calabrese, you're jinxing it. You're jinxing things. I just loved making the movie, and I was really happy that I could finally do something I'd really wanted to do, but I never had a way to do it. It's not, my films are independent. I raise money through grants and things. And in order to get that kind of permission, it took A&E and Grain and Orlando and to really make it possible. So I couldn't have done it myself. I was very, very pleased that they asked me to do it. Because there were a lot of, but it was amazing. I mean, it's one of those things in life that you watch it and you think what it's going to be like, but then it actually happens to you. And all you're worried about is like not falling down, not talking for too long. You can't see anybody in the audience. I'm suddenly going, why did I wear my glasses? Thank God I didn't wear heels, and then, you go through that like quick thing and then you get, sort of picked up by people, very well-dressed people who just shuffle you through this tunnel of press and champagne. And, I mean, it's just like, it's just really, it's quite intense, but, it was really fun, but I was just like, how can this possibly be happening? But it was great.
Yeah,
it was great. And so you're,
and then life gets back to normal afterwards.
No, you come home and you teach for a week, and then the pandemic hits, and you're under house arrest for the next 8 months. So no, it didn't come back to normal.
No.
But thank God it happened before we all shut down, because getting an Oscar on Zoom would have really been horrible.
It would have been worse. Yeah. And you're also busy with a new documentary now, an autobiographic piece, I heard, or
I'm doing a movie. I've been shooting it for a while. I'm going to move the boy. I just finished a movie called One Bullet, a feature film that I've been working on for a while and raising money to do the final, the color, all the finishing stuff. So hopefully once people figure out how to do business and how to be in this world, they recover. We're never going back to normal. There will be a new normal. But I've had some interest from various people, but I think everybody's waiting till after the election to see what kind of country we actually live in. So, yeah, but that's what I'm working on now.
And are you also worried about like the whole movie documentary industry now?
Well, I don't know. I'm more worried about the narrative world. A documentary, we always figure it out. Mm-hmm. We always figure it out. There's no production problem that doesn't have an aesthetic solution, right? No, I'm not any more worried for it than I'm worried for the ice cream store down my street. but I think documentary filmmakers are very good at obstacles. So we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. It's just going to take some time, and getting to a new, you know, and the sales agents and the business people have to figure out how they're going to make money when they have virtual screenings. What do the film festivals mean? You know, there's a lot that has to be sorted for the fiduciary piece of it to be figured out. And we'll see, you know, Netflix can't fund everything.
No, it's the new normal, and we have to find our way to get through with it. Yeah. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, my great pleasure. Take care. Thanks so much.
Bye.